Do you hear the captain sing, crying out across the stars? It is the anthem of the players, crushed beneath the endless charge.
When the packs are 99 and the servers barely run, then the game becomes a prison and the players say,
Everybody,
we're done.
will you join the cause today? Raise your banners through the void. Stand together as a people. Make the galaxy annoyed. When the credits fuel the chains and the joy is sold away, we will fight for what was promised and we'll take the game we play. Will you buy or will you fight for a fleet that's truly free? Will you pay $100 just to grind the same debris? Same debris. Same debris.
From the Borg to Romulan space, from the stars to Klingon war, every captain swears together we won't pay them anymore.
all right, let's turn down the music and we can get going. How is everybody doing? It is Wednesday. Yes, we are not confusing today with Monday. For those that weren't here, I did that Monday. So we're like, what's the inside joke there? Oh, don't worry. The inside joke is just that Rev is really bad with time sometimes. And I got those mixed up. But we're here today, and it's the right day because today is Wednesday. So we'll go over some player account reviews today. Try to help some players who maybe need some help with some crews, need a little bit of love. That's something that I like to do. Hopefully y'all enjoy it as well. And then we'll just try to do whatever we can to make your gameplay better and hopefully more enjoyable. So if you are here, shout out your server. Let us know where you're hailing from. In particular, let us know what alliance. I'll shout those out because we haven't done that in a long time. We've done a server shout outs, but let's do alliance shout outs. If you're out there and you have an alliance, or even if you're a lone wolf, feel free to share with the class. We'd be more than happy to share it with you. Get a shout out to I Choose Life, James Vaga, Sherlock Ohms, Chad Harrington, Edward Pierre, Nico, good to see you. Gerald, good to see you. Mateo cut me off and got caught up in the we're done part. Hey ho, we're not done. Me and you, together forever. Fat Dragon, Brady, good to see you. Flossie's here. Oh gosh, we got all these whales here. Swift's here. Eddie's here. Shout out to JPL on server 27. Shout out to the Borg on server 20. Shout out to Wrecking Crew. Shout out to formerly Borg on server 701, now called Rev. I wonder where that's from. Kobayashi Maru on 108. Good to see you. Horde. I've heard that name before over on server 710. Shout out to y'all. Galvin. Good to see you. Welcome in. Server 28. Shout out to the Coin Alliance. That is the name. So is it Coin? Is how y'all spell it out. It's actually C-O-I-N. Shout out to Coin. Sounds like a bunch of Ferengis. Is that the Whale Alliance? Is it? Wrecking Crew says, can we talk research? You can absolutely ask any question about research that you may have, and I will do my best to answer it. Absolutely. Get whatever you got. We're here for it. The Zindi Alliance on server 27. Good to see you. Red on server 704 with a bunch of new members from the recent merge. Am curious to hear from you post-merged servers. How are things going? I'm very curious about, what was it, 411 and 402, if any of those are here. But I'm also curious to everybody and everybody's experience. So, not just them. Shout out to server 67, Swarm over on server 17. Galvin, congrats on your merge, and I hope you're enjoying 705. Or is it devolved into, you know, a bunch of debauchery and fighting and arguing over silly things like my poor pixels, my poor pixels. Don't touch them. 145 and Tiber, welcome and shout out to y'all. Again, big shout out to all of y'all here. Hopefully y'all are having a fantastic Wednesday. And go ahead and invite your alliance mates and stuff out because we will be trying to help anybody that we can. Now, Reckon Havoc says, is there a blueprint or a guide to tell you what specific research you need to do to maximize power on ships and officers? My Enterprise A seems weak at level 5. So, specifically for that, no, there's not a guide for that. I can tell you what affects ship power. Hull health, shield health researches, hull health researches, energy researches, kinetic researches, and to a degree, mitigation researches. Those are the main things that are going to boost your actual power of a ship in terms of research, favors, etc. Anything that actually adjusts or augments the... Look at that. Stupid bugs. I don't have 0 health, I promise you. Anyway, that augments these base stats, whether it be damage, whether it be the piercing stats, whether it be the defensive stats, the whole health stats, the shield stats. Those all inflate a power on a ship. Now, keep in mind also that when you're talking low tier, because you said level 5. Now, I'm not sure if you mean tier 1 level 5 or if you mean tier 5 level 25. But for example, for those that don't know, a lot of, and this is universal for every ship. So if you're looking for things to make your ships better, this is a universal truth for everybody, whether you're level 20 or level 80, right? Every ship has most of its whole health locked behind the level of the ship. So as you tier it up, you'll notice, actually, let me see if I've got a ship laying around. I can show this because a lot of people still don't realize this. As you are leveling up a ship, it gains whole health via the levels. So let's see if we can see it on this old Katinga. So we up the Katinga, you see the health just jumped up by 1 million, right? So that's a big part of it as well. Like if you're a tier 1 player or a tier 1 ship, you don't have a lot of leveling to the ship. And a lot of the whole health of these ships is tied behind the actual level of the ship. That is part of what makes a better ship in terms of a tier 12 versus a tier 9 is the fact that a tier 12 will just have more whole health. It probably won't do a lot more damage, right? Like a tier 9 Katinga and a tier 12 Katinga will do roughly the same amount of damage. There will be a slight increase for sure. But the big change is whole health, right? 3 tiers of whole health can end up being a lot, right? Especially when you get into these big ships, the G7s, the G6s, the things like the Borg Cube, those tie a lot into it. So if you got a tier 1 ship, it's missing, not only is it missing the below deck spots for the ability of the officers, it's also missing what all those slots open up, which is a lot of survivability. And this is true for faction ships, for specialty ships. Every ship benefits from levels. And we're getting to a point in the game where the direction STFC is going is lending to people not probably stopping at tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, going deeper into their ships so they can get not only more below deck abilities, but also more survivability. And again, it's tough to give you a simple answer. I wish I could just give you a simple answer, Wrecking Crew. It's like, hey, go get these 10 researches. Truth is, there's hundreds of researches that will affect the things that we're talking about in terms of boosting power. You might be missing some individually that we could try to hunt down like a one-on-one. But in terms of just what answers your question, what makes ships stronger, whole health researches, shield researches, mitigation researches to a much more minor degree. To somewhat a degree, there are some isolytics that will help boost, but mitigation, shield health, whole health, and anything damage boost, which would be an energy weapon or a kinetic weapon booster. Those will be the things that you'll notice the immediate change to your ship in terms of the power growing. Now, like I said, there's a lot of places for that. One place I guess I can throw you to, because I hate to have gone through all this and not giving you any researches at all. A good example, though, would be the mirror tree. Not just the premium mirrors, but stuff like premium whole health is going to boost it. Premium shield health is going to boost it. But if you come back, you've also got like the rare whole health. That's a 600% bonus for every ship, right? That's going to improve your overall power. You've also, like just in the beginning, I'm highlighting different ones. You have energy weaponry, increases base damage of energy weapons for all ships. Got mine currently here at 650, right? So that will give you a boost, but it's a combination of several things. And again, we've talked about this probably ad nauseum at this point. STFC, both good and bad, has expanded horizontally a lot. So there's not really those easy answers to be given anymore, but there are still answers to be found. It's just a little bit more work than it used to be. Tibbs, good to see you, by the way. Welcome on in. It's absolutely a pleasure to see you jumping in here, Tibbs. Love you, man. Hope you're having a fantastic week. And shout out to Everman, says Eternal Enclave, server 30. I'm very curious how I came about the name, because the Eternal Enclave is a little generic in terms of sci-fi, but besides the generic portion, it's different. Like, it's not the run-of-the-mill Federation or Borg or Obsidian Order, you know, Section 31, you know, some of the most common alliances. Enclave makes me think of a couple of other games and fandoms. I'm very curious how y'all came up to that. But good to see Chrono. Welcome in. Leland says, good afternoon, everyone. Are there any alliances actually completing any of the Maverick faction tasks? Requirements seem too high. Are you talking about the events or just the task? I guess I gotta clarify what exactly you mean. If you mean the Maverick task, yeah, no problem. No problemo. Keep in mind, you're looking at this account is in the #1 alliance on this server, so no problem. Enough for me to come in every day and, you know, get big pulls on intel and all that other fun stuff. I will not claim that that's a universal experience, right? But I don't think, again, some people disagree. We always welcome disagreements. I don't think the events are necessarily too high. I just think that there are some alliances who can hit it and some who can't. It's all about, I guess it really comes down to completion metrics. What do we, when we look at things like COTA or we look at things like Echoes of V'ger, what would we as a player view as an acceptable completion percentage for like coming through and doing these events? And what's an acceptable completion percentage for alliances that complete the Mavericks? Because I'll be honest, the Maverick tasks that are part of the faction, we have yet to even somewhat halfway struggle to complete. As in, they're done very quickly. All right, we've technically got 5.5 days left. This one's already got done. The Transgen one's almost done. And what takes everybody the longest is the Conqueror Borg Armada hunt, but we will definitely be done with this in a couple days. Right? I know that's not going to be a universal experience, but the truth is that's not meant to be a universal experience. That's meant to be something that scales, right? And the top 1, 2, 3 alliances are going to be the best at that. And then if you're like the rank 5 alliance, you'll probably have, maybe you're completing it. And if you're in the rank 5, I'd love for people to share where they're at. Like Flossie was talking about them doing it, you know, but see where everybody's alliance ranks on each server, which ones are finding it, you know, that are on that borderline that are able to actually beat it. But I'll just go ahead and tell you up front, it's not meant for for the rank 15 alliance on your server to do it, right? Sure, there might be one that can, but that's not really the intent. It's meant to be like this higher end long goal that is difficult to achieve, that everybody has to work together to make happen, right? And there's absolutely, by the way, an argument / discussion to be had on what that balance looks like, right? And I'll cut it to you straight. I don't know what their percentage metric is. It's like if they look at it from the standpoint of there are 20 active alliances on each server. Let's just say 20 really active ones. Like even server 710, we've got about 20 active alliances. And they might be looking at it from, we want at most 5% of the alliances to be beating the Maverick task like within 3 days, right? Now, obviously, these are all internal things we're discussing that we don't have access to. Like, I don't have access to that. Chrono is here. I don't know, because I've actually not asked Chrono when it comes to things like this. Is this even something that is easily trackable? And if so, maybe we can get some numbers to y'all. But like I said, I haven't brought this up to Chrono. I know Chrono was in the chat. For those that don't know, that's who runs STFC.pro, which we'll be using a lot here in a minute when we do player account reviews. So with these being slightly different than the regular events, I don't know how task tracking goes on that. So maybe we can look and then we can try to figure out what that number is. Like maybe it's 5%, 10% of alliances. But I can assure you, having worked with STFC 7.5 years and everybody else who's done that, who's in the chat, like I saw Samo and stuff, they can tell you, right? There's no way that STFC is banking on like 25% of alliances being able to easily complete this, right? They're just not doing that. I would be shocked. But I also don't know. Like, I have no idea what the numbers are. So this could be something that, you know, me and Chrono are already working on another project. Technically, we're working on like 3 projects for STFC.pro. And when I say we, I mean mostly him and Glare and stuff. But we've already got a lot of things kind of lined up at .pro that are really neat. So you also check around. What the player tools are doing are absolutely phenomenal. And I always like bragging about them because a lot of the tools that we have coming out are not only so helpful, but some really, really good things being put together. But anyway, that's something that we could track. I would assume, like if you asked me to give you a percentage, I would assume Scopely is shooting for between 5 and 10% of alliances to complete Maverick task within 3 to 4 days. And then maybe another 5% who can do it with the remaining 4 days, right? So I would assume that their like marker / goal is about 10% of alliances are consistently beating Maverick. So Leland says, so basically you have to have a number of whales to complete it. Makes sense. Yes and no. I mean, look, just call it like it is. There is absolutely a spend incentive to all this. 100%. I do like pointing out that a lot of these things have the ability for people who work really hard to dominate. Now, sadly, we just fell out of it, but like my alliance on 710, y'all have seen it, is mostly level 30s and 40s. We were just in Masters League of Alliance tournaments. You need those active go-getters. Now, it's a little bit tougher to make that argument for the Maverick stuff because this is level 55 and above only, and you do not get equal scoring for equal participation. So, just to be clear, like a level 55 is not contributing as much as Jew, who's in the chat, who's going to contribute a lot more. He's probably doing, I would assume Jew is doing at least 69s at his level. Maybe he's not, but he's scoring 20 points a run. You're scoring 1 point a run. So I don't want to make it seem like it's perfectly equal, but there is still definite argument to be made that activity is the driver there. And even if your alliance isn't there yet, you can get your alliance there, right? Does that make sense? Even if you're not there yet, there is an achievable goal. It's just not as easy as, say, alliance tournaments because you can have level 30s who are getting you 10,000 points a day. You know, that's just, it's not as easy, but I also don't want to word it as, well, if you don't have spenders, you're screwed. So there's a little bit of truth to both things there. You know, the whales are absolutely going to be a target for a lot of things. And even though STFC is clearly adjusting their targets in terms of they're not leaning on the whales to spend $10,000 a month anymore, they're still never going to leave wanting that to happen. So there's going to be that push-pull dynamic. So Chrono asks, would people like to see a per alliance overview per server of alliance task completion? I can tell you this, Chrono, I would. But I guess the question is, how useful is it to everybody? Personally, I think alliance leaders like myself would really benefit from that type of information. And I would tell you, as a content creator, it would absolutely help my feedback if I knew, for example, in the Maverick faction, if I knew only 3% of alliances were able to complete the Maverick task, well, I would then immediately go, yep, that's not enough. Doesn't matter what, even if they said their metric was we only want to hit 3%, well, at least I have numbers to go, 3% ain't good enough. Yeah. Yeah. Chad said, listen to some YouTuber in a live stream on a Wednesday, said COTA was done, so I haven't stockpiled for it. Yeah. Well, what can I say? Scopely pulled a fast one on me for the 4,000th time and you for the 4,001st time. It won't happen again, I promise. But yeah, I absolutely would love that, Chrono. As a content creator, I think it would make my feedback better. Because if I know for sure that only 3% of alliances are competing, well, that's clearly something that I think collectively as content creators, we can then go after and say, look, this needs to be better. It needs to, appeal to more players. But what if we find out the opposite, right? The opposite also needs to be said. What if we find out that secretly 25% of all top 20 alliances per server, like not including the bottom 50 that are mostly inactives on every server. Let's just say of the top 20, let's just say magically 25% across the board are getting it done out of all the top 20s. It's tough to really gripe about that. I'm not saying you shouldn't gripe about it. I'm never going to argue that we shouldn't say, give us more. But if 25% of active alliances are doing it, well, that seems pretty reasonable for a new mechanic to me. And again, that's just my opinion. Y'all can have a different one, and we can share those opinions and send them to Scopely. But I think more importantly, I need the information to even know, right? So that would be a thing that I would love to see both as an alliance leader and a content creator. PC client is stuck at checking for updates. Is this a known issue? That happens to random people randomly, but yes, it is a known issue in terms of, yes, I know that it happens and they know that it happens. But there's not currently an issue with the login servers, at least one that I've seen. Obviously, I've been streaming here, so if one got announced, I've not seen it announced. Yeah, I don't see one currently announced. And also, Ultravetica, good to see you. Is there a fix? Without knowing what your problem is, James, I can't tell you. For example, do you have the community mod? As much as I do tell people the community mod is useful, the community mod breaks a lot recently because STFC is pushing forth so many daggum updates. And there are some fixes with the community mod, and you can find those on the community mod Discord. But yeah, this is, I guess, a pro and a con to them doing so many updates. It has made the community mod less reliable. That is not me saying it's less valuable. I do really believe the community mod is very valuable. If you play on PC or Mac, you should be using Spox Club in the community mod. I really believe that. But because of all these updates, it's been having more problems, is what I'm saying. It's been having more problems. Moran, good to see you. Are you ready for some server 20 versus server 30 incursions again? I will say, Saturday, I'll be streaming incursions, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how it plays out, if it's any different, right? I am. And I've not really been big on incursions in a while. I actually am truly excited to see if it's a more fun experience, if it's enjoyable, and we'll go from there. You know, it could be worse. We've talked about it a little bit already, but I'm excited. And let me go ahead and get STFC.pro ready so that we can prepare thyself. Because we're going to do some player account reviews, because I know there's still people who want individual help and they want to get better at STFC. Are you filled with excitement or dread with the new incursions? I think I'm definitely not filled with dread. I'm certainly not filled with dread. Excitement, I guess you could say it is excitement. What I have said is everything they've changed for incursions is all direct player feedback that I can prove was feedback. So I am looking forward to seeing if changes the players wanted to have happen make things better. I guess that's the best way I can say it. Because everything that they're changed is directly from players. I mean, I've got my own polling that's shown that for 4 years. So no change they made is like just the spur of the moment thing they pulled out of a hat. Literally everything they've had has been a big feedback point for a long time with incursions. I just need to see if it's better. Because it might not be better. It might be less active and more boring. It might be better. It might be. I don't know. If you're asking my opinion, I have been doing incursions for over 4 years. I've been one of Incursions' biggest, loudest supporters. The biggest survey we ever did, almost 5,000 people contribute to the survey, right? So I've always been going incursions, but I've also not done incursions in I think the last time I participated at any level in incursions was 6 months ago. It's been a while since I've done incursions, just because it's gotten old hat and boring to me. I mean, it's the same thing every time. And that isn't to say that the rewards aren't worth it, but I've gotten basically all the rewards that are to be had in 4 years. Now, my low-level accounts don't have that, but every high-level account I log into has all the rewards. So I'd be doing it because I enjoy it. And I don't enjoy it anymore. I've done this so many times. We want to see what it's new. And we've already talked about this, and me and Chrono talked about this earlier in the week. We will obviously be tracking participation rates on incursions, but also going to, now Chrono, we're going to do it this time or next time, going to be tracking individual alliance performance as well. So 60% of the time, it works every time. Yeah. Ultravetica says non-201 APAC servers are also bored with incursions, with them being too good at incursions. Yeah, look, Ultra, that's a tough one, because I've seen 201 pushed to the brink multiple times, and they always come together to win. And I feel like, sadly, everybody else in APAC is just rolled over, and they no longer put up the fight. I've seen the APAC servers almost beat, and I know almost horseshoes and hand grenades, but I've seen them almost take down 201. And there was a time where they put forth the effort where maybe it was going to happen. And I think now they've built this ethos and this whole mysterious persona around how great 201 is. Now nobody in APAC even tries anymore, and they just give the win to 201. I'll be honest, in 201, if you feel like I'm calling you out on this, good. I don't honestly think 201 is that good at incursions anymore. I really don't. I just think the other APAC servers have gotten to a point where they just give the win to 201. Honest to goodness, when I look at participation rates, I look at scoring metrics, 201's not the best, but they have the best record. And look, end of the day, you play who you're assigned, so I'm not trying to take away from all their wins, but I will say this, APAC, I really do believe there's a server out there that can beat them, because 201 is not as good in 2026 as they were in 2024. They are not. That is not me being a hater. They've just gotten very used to their success, and now everybody just immediately rolls over. I think if somebody actually stood their ground against 201, they could be beaten. It's just, will anybody in APAC do that? And I hope that lights a fire under somebody in APAC's butt, and I hope it lights a fire under 201's butt. Because I don't think 201 is as good as they used to be. So Mika says, I'm cautiously optimistic about the incursion changes. Happy as heck that we can't have a single butt throw the incursion anymore. Yeah, like I said, and that's been my thing with incursions. At least every point of feedback was straight from players. At least they didn't pull changes out their butt and just decide, like they did with COTA, oh, this is the better way to do it. You know, there's a reason people stopped doing COTA, and there's a reason COTA is going away. And it isn't because of player feedback, I can tell you that. So, restart fixed it. That works, James. That's nice that was an easy thing. Responsibility, good to see you. You must have an issue using the Sparks Club mobile app. I have, I'll be honest, I don't use the mobile app, so I can't help with that. I apologize. I would encourage you to check out their Discord. But honestly, I've not done their mobile app, so I wouldn't know. Why is COTA going away then? Easy. Because not enough people spend on it. I mean, I hate to be the guy, but it's because spenders don't spend on it. And it's designed to be a spend event. That's all it is. It's literally nothing but a spin mechanic. That's why they whittled it down, because when it first launched, it was too easy. As in, people just had so much of the stuff, there was no need to buy a pack to upgrade your specialty ship or do something else. And they started whittling away things that score. They started raising the milestones. And end of the day, most whales just aren't willing to spend on COTA. I'm not saying they don't like COTA. That's two separate topics. Liking an event and engaging in an event in the way that Scopely wants you to engage can be two very different statements. COTA is not getting people to go spend $2,000 to upgrade their relativity or, you know, whatever. Just pick your ship. It's just not. And events like COTA are designed to be spend events. And I don't even think that's a problem. So for any Scopely employee that wants to be hearing what I'm saying, like, well, there goes Rev just complaining about how we do things again. I'm not. I think it's completely fine to have spin-based mechanics. And I'll tell you exactly what I expect to happen. COTA is going to disappear for maybe a month. And then something else is going to come around that looks oddly suspiciously like COTA, but it's not called Chronicle of the Ascendant. It's called The Story of the Great Ones. I don't know. It'll happen, though. You'll get the same similar style, slightly changed and augmented under a brand new coat of paint. And then they'll be like, hey, Flossie, you know, if you spend $3,000 right here, look at this is some good. Look at these rewards. Would you look at these? Flossie, like if you just spent $3,000, look what you get. Don't be surprised. It's going to happen again. Right? So if you miss COTA, I got great news. Another version will be invented soon. It's just, what does that version exactly look like? You know? Yeah. Yeah, I love how Rev has holes in his body. First off, you don't know. You don't know that. Second off, calm down. It's the title of your autobiography. It'll be 3K. That's the title. Can't think that that's happened before. Cough features. Yeah, exactly. And again, like, I'm not honestly trying to say it in a negative way, because I do 100% support free-to-play games. I know Rev's over here shilling. I really have no problem with free-to-play games because it allows people who are out there, like there are people who will play this game for 7 years and they will be a drain on the game. What I mean is there are people who will be pure free-to-play and will never contribute financially. And that's okay because events like this exist. And I think those people deserve a game, and the people who are willing to spend $3,000 on COTA, let them, if it lets me not have to spend money. So, but anyway, that's the very long monologue way of Rev saying, well, this is why that's not there no more. How about we go ahead and get ready for player account reviews? Who wants help in the game? I assume most people here, especially Flossie. They're terrible. They're terrible. Whales still need the minnows? For sure. Absolutely. Which again, this is why I support the free-to-play game. Because I don't like saying minnows. I like calling it what it is. I like being honest. You're a krill. You're not a minnow. No, a minnow is a little fish that nobody bothers. You're a krill. You were there to be eaten by Flossie. Okay? You were there to be eaten by Ballybomb. You're there to be eaten by Haywire. That doesn't mean you're going to be, but you are krill. Okay? And that's okay. You're either krill or a whale. You could be a dolphin. But that doesn't make sense in the analogy, so there's no dolphins, okay? Because I don't think whales eat dolphins. Maybe they do. But you're either a whale or a krill. I'm a krill. I know my role. Okay? I know my role. Let's just call it. It's not even Rev can't or won't. Rev can't afford, okay? I can't afford to be a whale. Let me just be honest with everybody here. 225 people here. Why should I lie? I cannot afford to be a whale in STFC, and I'm not ashamed of that. Like, I would be hurting my kids. I'm just not made like that. My wallet's not that thick, okay? Some people, their wallet is that thick. More power to them. More power to them. But I'm not, and that's okay, right? So if COTA exists for people to spend, that's okay to me. I just won't spend, right? It's just, if it's not for me, it's not for me. I'll go do what's for me, like Alliance tournaments, like Conqueror Borg solos, right? Like V'gers. I'll go do what I can do that will address my account and move it quickly. And I'll ignore what doesn't. You think free-to-players are great? Yeah, free-to-players are incredibly important. Free-to-play is equally as important in terms of the survivability of the game as spenders. It's just, I guess the best way to word it is you need more free-to-play to equal one spender, but you need both in equal amounts. Like if one spender is worth 20 free-to-plays, you need both of those. Like you need the one spender and you need the 20 free-to-plays to counterbalance them. You need both in the ecosystem of this game. So, also Tim, thank you for supporting the channel. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you. If anybody wants to check us out, check out our website, revjuice.com. You can get access to exclusive content. You can talk to me one-on-one because all those go straight to my phone. You get personalized thank yous. There's a podcast. There's all kinds of stuff on there. If you want to support the channel, check out revjuice.com. Thank you, Tim, for the YouTube channel. So, Ultravetic says, with the cost of petrol/gas in the past few weeks, I can't spend as much in the game anymore. Yeah, look, real life happens to all of us, right? Real life happens to every single one of us, and that's absolutely fine. 100% okay. No worries, no problems, right? It just is what it is. You know, I've spent $200 in packs in January and February, or February and March. And then I've spent about, we were talking about this on Twitch. I think I've spent about $300 on giving away merch and battle passes and things like that, which that's where a lot of my business money goes, is to do giveaways, right? So, but even if I didn't do all those still aren't whale numbers. Like even if I took all the battle pass giveaways I do, and that comes out of our pocket financially, if I took away the merch stuff, it's still nowhere near whale level. So you have to be appreciative to a degree that there is somebody out there willing to spend $10,000 a month, right? To keep this game as it is. Yeah. How do I beat Orion V'gers? These are the only ones I have trouble with. So John, main thing is, are you using Janeway or Suitor? Because you don't want to. I'm using a pretty generic run. I'm punching up against 65s. I'm using Jean-Luc Picard, Anorax, and Seska with the normal assortment of below decks, Picard, Hugh, Wrath of Khan, Joaquin, Belana Torres. Little Apex Shred down there is always nice and fun. That's good. Again, this is just kind of like generic runs, but this is what I'm using to beat my Orions. But it will vary based on where you're at. Some people will need to use a cheese crew. And this is where we need to get into our helping accounts. So if you're out there and you want to jump in, you want to have us take a look at your account, let's start with G5. I know we did G4 players last time. So if you're a G5 player, level 51 through 60, and you would like us to look at your account real quick, if you want us to answer any questions, hit us up. And I also want to point out that if you want one-on-one help, you can join our Discord, and we have a whole team of people who are happy to help with stuff like this, right? So join us there, or if you want a one-on-one with me, where we sit down, we can talk about that as well. But either way, let me know what level you're at. If you're a G5 player, level 51 through 60, and you want us to take a look at your account, throw your ops level into the discussion right now, and we'll talk about it. What are my thoughts on the special treasury? The same thing I told you the last time you asked. A treasury is always a treasury. It's always worth it. It's just, is it worth it to you right now? This is the new 4-day treasury. We've been doing these for months, right? It's the new 4-day treasury that focuses on officer shards. You're getting 100 officer shards. You're getting 100 epic shards. Do you need any of these? If the answer is no, then it's not worth it. If the answer is yes, then it's worth it. So, this is the free-to-play friendly one. Yeah, so if you're a pure free-to-play, and you have the ability to do a treasury, this is the one to do. But in terms of value, the value is equal every single time. The value just really comes down to, is it something you need, right? If you don't need the officers, then it's not a valuable treasury. But the treasury value is very specific. The treasury is 150% of that pack with officers. Or it might be, if it's the ship parts one, it's 150% of that ship parts pack, right? Treasury value is always there. The question is it valuable to you? There has never been a treasury that wasn't valuable. And I know somebody's going to be like, but Rev, there was this one treasury that was the worst ever. No, they're always the same. It just might not have been a treasury that was valuable to you in that moment. Every treasury is exactly the same. It is the same value in terms of dollar. It's just whether those items are valuable to you right now. And that very well could be no, right? You could say, hey, I don't need Sulu. I've already got him. I've already got Golden Cod. I don't care about Scotty. I already maxed out Wrath of Khan Carol. And if you said any of those things, yeah, complete sense. I understand. Don't worry about it. Don't even waste your time unlocking this treasury. But if you're not one of those people, then yeah, it matters for sure. Right? And if you're one of those free to play, for those who didn't know, the reason this treasury is the best for free to play is because this one doesn't have the ops lock. So a normal treasury, so a normal 7-day treasury, if you're a pure free to play, you're only going to see the officer charge. You won't get offered the big loops because treasuries, they level up essentially with your spending habits, right? So a pure free to play, somebody who's never spent a dime, one of the ways you can always tell if an account hasn't spent any money is, do they have the free to play treasury? There's a $5 treasury. So the treasury scales, if y'all have spent any money, that maybe y'all would know, like with the weekly packs, they scale, right? How many people here have bought the weekly pack? Remember, this is not a shaming, this is just teaching. So if you buy the weekly offers, they start off at $10. But what happens is the game's like, oh, they're willing to spend a little money, coming in, and the monthlies start going up. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying that's what it does. As they recognize spend habits, your packs will adjust. So that, and I'll be in, just in case people didn't know, it also works in the reverse. If you've not spent or played the game in a long time, let's just say, like Humble quit the game for about 48 hours. He couldn't resist. He came back. But let's just say Humble had left for 3 months. If Humble had truly left for 3 months and came back, what likely would have happened is he would have been given free battle pass and like a free pack. Because from the opposite is also true. If you're a heavy spender and you stop spending and you take a break, they want you to come back. So they give you a free taste. So that's what they'll do. They'll just be like, hey, Humble, it's been a while, but we got this credit card and this white line over here. You don't have to have it, Humble, but we're just going to let you know, we're going to give you this line and this credit card for free. And whatever happens after that, we don't care. We're just glad you're back. And then they walk out the room and then Humble just staring at it like, but it's free. So why shouldn't I take it? It's free. Like, I don't have to get any more packs after this. It's just free. And then Humble goes over, he taps the credit card on the desk. He does things that we won't say on YouTube. And then he just found out, well, what the hell? I spent $5,000. What happened? He's got a tier 10 vengeance and he doesn't know what's going on, right? That's how the packs work in this game. And people will argue it's predatory, blah, 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 blah. But it is how it is. Anyway, we asked people to shout out their level. A few of them did. The first one I see is General Darkfire. General Darkfire, shoot me a message on Discord with whatever questions that you have that you want us to look at your account on. And we'll take a look and we'll go from there. We'll take a look and we'll go from there. We'd love to give money to you, Rev and Steph Scopa, and I greatly appreciate that. Let me go and be honest with you. I can't do what I do without people who donate. Believe it or not, YouTube ad revenue and Twitch subs don't go that far. They go far, and I'm gonna say I'm very grateful. Never take what I say as me not being grateful. But if y'all didn't know, the main reliance we actually have is on donations. That's how I make my living. So if you do want to check that out, revdeuce.com. How long you got to quit the game to get the free battle pass? Again, Sugar, that's varied. I've had people who only quit for 3 months who got it. I've had people who quit for 6 months who got it. And I've had people who quit for a year and they came back and got nothing. So I don't know the exact metrics, and I don't want to pretend like I do, but I can tell you how things have worked. Like, for example, Iron Fister, for those of you who have been around a while, Iron Fister is very common in our community. He's actually one of my Twitch moderators. He's one of the ones that got one of those packs. Like, he got a free battle pass. So, 61 is G6? Correct. 61 is G6. Yeah. So anyway, this was not me telling everybody to take a 3-month break and you get a magic free battle pass. It's not what I said. But what I said is that they will incentivize getting people to spend. Sorry, my phone's getting a call. I'm ignoring because this is more important. Make sure it's not my wife. But anyway, let's get into our first run. Ghost Bob, good to see you. General Darkfire is our first one, level 56, and they look like they're doing pretty good for themselves. So I'm curious what questions they have. They've not sent the questions yet, but I'll go ahead and put on the screen. Y'all can see where they are. So they are in the 300s. So if we find their name, they are 383, which is really good in my opinion, considering there are over 9,100 level 56s. So if you're in the top 300, you're doing pretty daggum good. So, been unable to beat a level 55 Borg outpost so far. Okay, that's a good goal to be chasing after. And can barely get into the second level of hostiles. I have decided that I'll probably need to wait until I have 3 ships to complete them. Now, we'll go ahead and throw out that is a big deal. The 3rd ship is, if you've been watching or doing the Armada mechanic for Outpost, because it basically is an Armada plus wave mechanic, you can tell it's meant for more than 2 ships. In the same way that Conquerors like demand that you bring all 3 ship types, you kind of wish that you could do all that immediately with Outpost, right? Now, in terms of how well you're doing, in terms of Outpost, there are 56s who can maybe make that happen. What's going to come down to is the 56s who are doing that are going to be on page 1, right? So, Darkfire, my next question for you is, what are your main 2 ships and what are your main 2 crews for Outpost? Since we're talking Outpost. But yeah, in terms of where you're at, this tells me that you likely have got solid ships and solid research. Your best ships are the Relativity and the GS-31. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to be torn because I'm so torn on this. Like, I want you to have a faction ship because a faction ship would perform better than the GS-31 where you're at. At the same time, there's no real reason for me to tell you to focus on a 56 when you could just be prepping for 60. So this is a tough one. If you're going to be at 56 for a while, Darkfire, a faction ship, because of the faction researches that it gets and just the ability to tier it further than you can take like a GS-31 in G5, because there is an ops lock there. Like a beefy tier 10 Sanctus would do better than your GS-31 in all likelihood. That's not something that you make out of nowhere, especially if you're already prepping for 60, because the 60s in the epics there will be your workhorses even now for a long time. Like I still use my Rotaran today all the time at 63, and I've got better ships, but I still use it because there are so many loops that require to use multiple ships. And the fact that you max that out means you've got all the below deck spots, which honestly matters more than almost anything, because one thing that you're probably limited by on that GS-31, which GS-31 at that level, I'm trying to remember. One sec. Let me pull up the OS progression spreadsheet so we can all see it together. I think it's tier 10, 11. Let me see what it is for GS-31. Ship chart by ops level. So again, I always like to share all this with y'all. There we go. GS-31 tier 9 is the highest that you can take it. So the highest you can go right now in G5 is tier 9. And that's fine, by the way. A tier 9 GS-31, yours is a tier 8. Tier 9 GS-31 is great for elite waves, right? Like your tier 8/tier 9 GS-31 should be able to do the solo G5 waves. So that's a good thing. And hopefully you're doing those already. But that's not going to be the most optimal for running Outpost, right? You're just going to have a little bit better result in your FKR. So that's something that you have to decide for yourself, Darkfire. Like, how long do you think you'll be at 56? right? So if you think that you'll be at 56 or even in that range, 57, 56, if you think you'll be there for 6 months, like if you don't, let's just put it this way. If you don't imagine being level 60, so you're sitting at 56, you're not in the top of 56s yet. So like, I wouldn't tell you to move up right now, right? I personally always move up when I'm on like the first page. I want to catch up on all my researches. I want to have all my ships done type deal. So if you feel like you've got some time, I would encourage to start investing in a faction ship, which opens up the cube for you, which a lot of people in chat will tell you battleships, in particular the cube, really nice in the outpost. It has a lot of hull health and has a good firing pattern that you can manipulate, right? Or you could just run with the faction ships. And obviously getting your building up, that's going to be the other big thing, because you get a 3rd slot from leveling the building, and you get a 4th slot once you get FC Cisco, which people like me and you at our level aren't really worried about yet. Maybe you're going after that, maybe you're not. So crew you're using is 511 Tal and Burning, and then Martok, Chang, Lorca on the other ship. Okay, I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of running Tal here, because, again, hear me out, the reason I'm not the biggest fan of Tal is you're trying to do 73 fights, right? 73 combats. Tal is really good for like one single punch up. He's not ideal for 73 straight fights. Does that make sense? Like if you were just trying to punch up really, for example, if Tal was a great option for, say, a Conqueror punch up, then I'm on board. For running 73 different fights, I'm not big on Tal GG. Now, what crews you could run will vary based on what you have available to you. Just to give you a basic of what I do with 2 ships and outpost, I'll show you my crew runs I have. Now, you can move these around, but outpost 1, Gorkon, Chang, E-Riker, so that's criticals and hull breach, right? I'm pretty basic, nothing crazy, not fancy at all. And then obviously the below decks at work, Wrath of Khan Joaquin, Picard, Hugh, etc. And then on outpost 2, I've got TOS Kirk, which is morale, so shield regeneration, thanks to Starpath, and then shield regeneration. And then below decks, if I'm running double battleship, so like if I'm running Negvar Borg Cube, I put all the healing on battleship number 2, and I'll let battleship number 2 get farmed, right? I want that one to get all the damage, to get all the focus fire, thanks to the battle triangle. And I'll just leave that ship to be the repair monster, and then the first ship to be the damage monster. Now, again, we can move these around. I'm not saying these are the only 2 outpost crews that I would tell you to run, because anybody that's out there that's worked with me, we've done a lot of different crews. You know, sometimes running the Klingon piercing officers like Martok and Bael are the better run. But I don't personally like the Tal there. Again, simply based on the fact that your goal is to survive 73 fights. And to me, that's the key of Outpost, is surviving 73 fights. So right now, you've got Chang, Martok, Lorca on a ship. Nothing wrong with that. Personally, I would do like Gorkon Chang, and then you could keep Martok there if you wanted to. And then on your other ship, I would do something like 5 Khan Lorca, double the hull breach up, and make 2 powerful critical ships. You could do 1 of 11, 5 of 11 Lorca. Just you make sure you're getting hull breach no matter what. Maybe you already have Lorca maxed out or Gorkon maxed out, so you know that's not really a concern. And then you go Khan, and you give 2 critical officers, right? Or maybe you go for morale and you go, I'm just going to make a repair ship and a damage ship. I think any of these options would be superior to running 5 of 11 Tau Giorgio. So, Brandon says first ship for me is the same as Rev, Gorkon Chain, E. Riker. Yeah. So just doing some crew swaps, you might see a different outcome. And again, on your first ship, so you're using relativity in GS31. Tricky things, GS31 does not have the firepower in G5 that it possesses in G6. And the relativity is very much it's a shield monster. Like if you ever look at the relativity side by side with its specialty ship peers, it's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad. It's actually very strong. But a lot of its strength, remember at the beginning of the show, we were talking about, well, what researches do I need to make power? Relativity gets a lot of its power from defense, a lot of shields, and it gets more and more shields as it tiers up. Now mine's tier 12, so 551 million DPR. Here's my Negvar though. This is a baby tier 5 Negvar. This is not a big Negvar. 721. If we swap that over to, again, talking about like level 60 ships, Rotaran, what were we at? Rotaran's at 700, right? And you're not going to have a relativity that's as high as my relativity, right? Just because you're limited to your relativity being maxed at tier 10. So faction ships still have that weight for things like outposts because, yeah, the special ships might have the power, but then it comes back to understanding, well, how did I get that power, right? And if a lot of that power is from shields, that's fine, but it means that naturally, if you're going with a ship that has a lot of shield strength, maybe not a lot of firepower, relativity, and then you pair it with a GS-31, which at tier 8 doesn't have a lot of oomph to it compared to its faction ship peers, then you've got a fight that's probably lasting longer. So what's probably happening, Darkfire, is your outpost hostile fights are going way too many rounds. And because you have to do 73 of them, you think of it this way. Let's say that you've got 500 rounds in your ship, right? And you can get that 500 rounds in a variety of ways. You can get that 500 rounds, 5 rounds in 100 battles. Or you can get it in 10 fights through 50 rounds, right? But your ship has got a limited amount of hull health is what I'm saying. It can only last so long. So you need to be able to still punch hard, but also survive. And that's why the survivability we focus on isn't mitigation. If you notice the crewing I did, the survivability was built around repairs, not around mitigation, right? I know 5 of 11 can be useful. I know Galron, Martok can be useful. But the main thing we're doing is hitting hard and repairing, hitting hard and repairing, hitting hard, repairing. And we're repeating that process every single fight. I don't want my outpost fight to go 15 rounds, 12 rounds, 10 rounds. I don't want them to go anywhere near that long. I want them to be short, quick, to the next one. Short, quick, to the next one. So anyway, just some things to think out and try and play with, Darkfire, just based on that being your predominant question. And hopefully that answered. So hopefully that answered. If you have TMP, Sulu, and V'ger, Ilia, those are crewing options. Yeah, for sure. And I also want to throw out that below decks will be something that you're going to struggle with having enough officers to do. If you've even gotten Uhura because of the Excelsior loop and the challenge loop, if you've even got tier 1 Uhura, that ISO Cascade below decks is good. Very good. Yeah, even at 10%. Now, her officer ability is not very good at tier 1. This isn't strong, but even 10% ISO Cascade against Outposts where there's not a lot of below deck officers that do anything is a pretty nice big deal. It's good. Very good. Braindig says the modern meta for repair officers is Suda, Seska, Picard, Hugh, and Zephyrin Cochrane. And again, on Zephyrin Cochrane, which most of you who are here, in fact, probably almost none of you have, but still worth learning about. Officer ability, ISO Cascade, me likey, but below deck, on start of each round, repair 5% of hull health taken in previous round of combat against all armadas. So for your Conqueror Borgs, that's nice to have now on multiple ships. You can have Picard Hugh on a ship. You can have Zephyrin Cochrane on a ship, right? That becomes very, very handy to have all these different repair officers. And that's become like the new survivability tactic. It's not as big of a deal about mitigation, which can still be valuable. Now it's, can I repair the damage I take and then go back into another fight? And Darkfire says helpful. Good. Happy to hear that we were helpful. Lord knows it'd be really bad to listen to Rev rant for 20 minutes about a topic and you have gotten zero help. So I'm glad to hear that at least 2-3 of the words I said in the past 15 minutes were beneficial to you and your account. That's good. Happy to hear it. Let's do one more G5. If you're out there and you're in G5, shout out your ops level here in the YouTube chat. And if we call you out, we'll start looking at what you got. So Edward says in the low 50s, her synergy for Sulu is worth it on increasing Apex. Okay, I can see that for sure. Because again, there's not a lot of Apex shred and stuff in early G5. So if you're adding barrier, that could be very good. Tender says, not going to lie, I kind of glazed over that for a hot second. Going to have to go back in the vid. And that's okay. Like I said, I do have It's not a need, almost a compulsion to explain. And my explanations have gotten longer and longer as the game has gotten wider and wider. Can we do G4? Well, I did G4 last week, Bester, so I'm trying to do G5 right now because I did G4 last week. Wolfpack, level 60, first one I see. Shoot me a message on Discord. Let me know what questions that you have, and we'll take a look at your account. And hopefully the information we give is applicable to everybody. I think a lot of what we just gave to Darkfire was applicable to basically everybody who's listening right now. So we'll try to help out as many as we can. Humble says, I've watched hundreds of Rev videos. At least 2 were helpful. Thank you. Yeah, look. If I can have a success rate, a percentage success rate equal to the amount of people who complete Maverick task, like the actual alliances, then I'm probably doing pretty good. If 20% of my videos are good and 20% of people are doing events, success. Many of you are like, how dare you say 20% is successful? You know what? Okay. Here we are. Here we are today. So, anyway, Cochrane is probably going to be more used in a shots crew. Look, I'm going to let y'all know there's a reason I put out the shots crew, okay? There's a reason that Rev puts out videos sometimes when he does. And the shots crew is going to be helping a lot of people out there, and already is. But if you can make it better with a repair officer like Cochrane, that's huge. Because obviously you make sacrifices with shots. All right, let's see what Seawolf's got. You just had to have a crazy name. Somebody just loves Star Trek Prodigy. I'm glad we found somebody that loves Star Trek Prodigy, though. Is this secretly a scribbler? Are we secretly doing a scribbler? Alt, is that what this is? Let's see if I can find you. I actually don't see you putting in that name. Did you spell it correctly? Does it have any special characters? Guess I can try to find you manually on server 711. Is there any special characters to it? And I also need your questions. We found the one. Hey, first off, I'm a Prodigy fan, so you found 2 of them right here. Don't be talking that ish. I like Prodigy. All right, yeah, you do have a special character in your name. You lint liquor. Yeah, you're a terrible human being. You had a special character in your name. You didn't tell me. Yeah, you're a terrible person, Seawolf. Terrible human being. Absolutely awful. All right, I'm going to go sort these, and I'll put it on the screen once I got you. There we go. Well, Reverend John, I'm going to let you know there are 2 months of Star Trek Academy coming. And just to be very clear, STFC has no option in that. Those are orders they're following. So, Reverend John, go ahead and prepare yourself. You have 2 months of Star Trek Academy. Minimum. Whether you like it or not, it's happening. Prepare yourself now. And to be very clear, they would probably do it anyway, but it's also not a choice. Like, this is, Paramount has a TV show. Paramount says you're going to do this. Guess what you're going to do in STFC? Star Trek Academy. So, I get it. It's been canceled. It's not very good. I know there's people who like it, but they're in the minority. That's just the truth of it. But it's coming into STFC. So, prepare yourself. You learned about Star Trek show never heard of? Yeah, Star Trek Scouts is a YouTube shorts show directed at kids. Yeah, we've actually played it a few times for my kids. I just got a message. Let me see what this was. Make sure it's, again, not the wife. Okay. It was the wife. See, this is why we check our phone. Because I don't need to be getting in trouble. I don't need to be getting in trouble. Zoltan says SFA was okay, but okay. See, I don't agree. I think it was the worst Trek ever made, and I do personally believe that this could have set Trek back into Trek may not get made at all for several years because of Academy. Again, that's my opinion. Everybody's opinion is equal. But either way, it's coming into STFC whether you like it or not. So, whether you like it or not, it's happening. All right, let's take a look. Well, Seawolf, you've not sent me your questions, Seawolf. I need you to send me your questions that you have about your account. I've got your account pulled up, but we need questions. You got to provide what questions you got. So, and you take a step back and rethink. Yeah, and you think about it, James, Star Trek has been back on the air for basically a decade. So, yeah, put the chats here in Discord. That way I can easily see them, Seawolf. Put all your questions in the Discord because obviously there's what 270 people in the YouTube chat and a lot of people talking, so things get lost. So put every question you have in the Discord, please. So maybe Star Trek does need to take a step back, and that's fine. Look, they needed a step back after Enterprise. So you got Prodigy and Academy confused. You're glad Prodigy found a niche, yeah. And even then, Prodigy was designed to be focused on like 11 and 12-year-olds. So if you're out there and you're a 55-year-old man or woman, you go, I don't like Prodigy. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. You want to know what your priorities should be before G6? Well, that's easy. I've got a checklist for that. Here, we'll go ahead and give you all those goodies. Good thing Rev made a checklist. There's a whole video about this subject. But just to go ahead and let you know, you ain't nowhere near. You shouldn't even be thinking about G6. Like, when you say the words G6, Cherry, somebody should be slapping you in the mouth. And I don't try to condone violence, but honestly, on server 711, if you mention that, I hope everybody in your alliance and global chat just like literally types out, stop it, Cherry. You shouldn't even think G6 doesn't exist to you. G6 isn't real. It's a figment of your imagination. Pop Cherry, you're on the second to last page of all level 60s. Well, what the heck? Isn't that what you said? Oh, wait, Rock Talk, sorry. This one. Why did it pull off the wrong name? Oh, it's because of the special character. Let's see, is it going to find it correctly this time? It doesn't like special characters. All right, it found you, but now it needs to sort by level 60s. All right, let's see now. Sir, my opinion still stands. Yeah. You shouldn't. G6 doesn't exist to you. G6 isn't real. Like, nothing changed. You're literally like 200 ranks better than the other person. So your focus is right here. Good news. You're literally the type of person I made the following video for. Right here. Your Ops G6 checklist. Your Ops 60 checklist. So you want to know what you need? All these buttons. I can tell you don't have a maxed out epic. That's on your list. Mark III Revenant. Have you got your Revenant there yet? Have you scrapped it? Because that's G6 materials that you can then take in G5, which can let you upgrade specialty ships and stuff. Is your Revenant done? Is that the whole game? Yes, this is the whole game. So this is every level 60 in the game. So you currently rank 3,424 out of 3,734. So there's almost 4,000 level 60s and you're near the bottom. So the checklist is huge for you because you likely need everything on this checklist. DTI faction, maxed out. Ops 60, level 60 Ops Gallery with 20 plus artifacts maxed. Level 5 USS Relativity minimum, preferably tier 10 at level 60, right? All these different artifacts I've got, all these different specialty ships. And I even tell you in the video how to start getting Sigma early. How to start getting Sigma speed ups early. So this video is perfect for you. And that video, I'll actually go ahead and grab it. That way we can all take a look at it. And be very clear, Seawolf, none of this is like calling you out and saying you suck. It's just saying, please be warned, you don't want to go into, you don't want to, you know, I can see my algorithm, I don't mind. You don't want to go into G6 where you're at right now. You'd be very upset, very frustrated. So here's the video. The link to the list is the first pinned comment of the video, right? And I'm going to post the video here in the chat. And I'll actually put this video in your Discord. The link to the actual document is the pinned comment. It's also in the description. And I go through why in the video I'm making all these points. So it's not like just me telling you to do these things for the sake of doing them. I explain the points in the video. But yeah. You can't log in Discord? Don't worry. I'll put the video here in the chat. You don't want to, either you can't use Discord or you don't want to use Discord, completely okay. So. And I also want to add in that checklist here, and I'm not trying to talk down about my work, but like this checklist is easy mode too. Like for example, 150% ISO, you could easily have over 300% ISO at level 60. So it's not even like I've set these goals that are just ridiculously high and I'm expecting everybody to be the best player at their level. Like, a lot of these goals are toned down goals. So yeah, this is a good list for you. And it gives you things to prepare yourself. Like, can I do the Augment Exiles, for example, right? So don't think that any of these things are like too hard. You can absolutely do them. It just might take you work to get there. And we can help you get there too. Rev got some feedback from some pretty smart people to make that checklist. Yeah, there's a guy named Tiberius who in particular helped with the G5 checklist here. So multiple content creators giving you an idea of what to go after. And to be very clear, like, I was struggling because I wanted to make higher marks. Like, I wanted to tell y'all, well, you need 300% ISO. Like, I wanted minimum 250. And talking to other people, like, do you need 300? You don't. You can do every loop with only 150, but it's better to have more. So anyway, I know I just gave you a lot all at once, Seawolf, but I only did that because you're literally a great example of who needs the Op 60 checklist, because you are right there, but here's all the things that you need to focus on. So you even had the stretch goals before. Yeah. Like I said, again, the orange ones are what I call stretch goals. So, like, these are all things that you can have done at 60 and be ready to go. Just what I personally recommend. And then, if y'all are out there and you're curious, does Rev have a checklist for other ops levels? Good news. Yeah. If you are going in a G5, like you're a G4 player right now, you got a checklist. You want to go into G7? Ask Humble. Humble actually was part of me making this. I got a checklist. You want to go into G4 for the first time? You're a G3 player. You're preparing for the future. You go Revis from 2 years ago. Good news. Here's another one. More recently updated G4 checklist. I should probably take this one down. Yeah, I should take that one down because I've got this one. This is the more updated G4 one. But either way, you get the point. I got a checklist for all you wonderful people to prepare yourself for the future. Whatever your future might look like. I got it alls. I got it alls. Oh, look, there's Tibbs. Hey, I see you, Tibbs. I love how I look up checklist Rev Deuce. And granted, I had to scroll a little bit, but I found Tiberius 2187. And Tiberius, do you need me to make you some daggum thumbnails, sir? I'm about to shame him. I encourage everybody here to go follow him because he does good work. But the man doesn't believe in thumbnails. Like, what? Just letting YouTube pick your thumbnails like a daggum Neanderthal. What is this? Stop it. I will make you a basic format. My Lanta. But strongly encourage y'all go check out Tibbs. There's a lot of great content creators. I am not the only one, and I'm not the only opinion that matters. So check out a lot of these other ones who decided that thumbnails are for idiots like Rev Deuce. But he does make good content. And I've actually said this. If you go to my checklist and you look at the Revenant, that's not my video. That's Tibbs' video. Some people make better content than Rev sometimes, believe it or not. Every now and then, I'll admit, they made a better video than I did. He made a better Revenant upgrade video than I did. So, check it out. Check it out. G7 seemed a little strong on Vengeance and Dauntless, considering part sourcing and Vengeance BPs. Strong is relative, Kevin, but I'll be honest. Most people thought I was, again, undercutting. So, it's all relative to where you're at, is what I'm saying. And I'd also add that my G7 checklist will be significantly easier every 6 months you add to the timetable. Like 6 months from now, my checklist is going to be even easier to complete. 6 months after that, even easier to complete. So G7 checklist is meant to take a while right now because G7 is still pretty out there in terms of overall cost and stuff. So where do you go see your ranking? STFC.pro, Chad. It's one of the many tools that I often cite on the channel. STFC.pro, STFC.phd, and Spock's Club are the three big ones that I am constantly bringing up because I think they apply to the most people. But Reverend Johnson's moved 55 from 50 last month, ranked 1,100 out of 3,600. Got a ways to go. Yeah, the only thing I would say for you, John, since you already moved to 55, I would go to 56. because I'm going to tell you to get a faction ship because of what we were just talking about with General Darkfire, right? So I would tell you to go up one more level. One more level. And yes, Tibbs is Tiberius 2187. That's correct. You still think the ISO damage for the G6 checklist is baby mode? I'll be honest, Sugar Fat Man. I've debated going back and increasing it because even though I put out that video, when did I put that video out? It's less than a year ago, I feel like. Maybe I'm wrong. The G6 checklist video came out, 8 months ago. Even since 8 months ago, it's gotten easier to get ISO. It honestly, I need to bump it up. I'm going to make a quick adjustment on this. Wrong thing. I'm going to knock this up to 250. Just because even in those 8 months, it's gotten significantly easier to obtain ISO, right? Just in that time period, the Glavin became 100% free to play and maxable for every G4 and above player, right? Well, maxable for every G5 and above, but still unlockable down as early as G3. So yeah, we're gonna knock that up a smidge. I'm not gonna go around changing all the other ones. Don't worry, Seawolf. But again, that one in particular has gotten easier. And just to be clear, the reason I am big on my checklist is almost everything in the checklist we give you a source material for. It's like you go, well, you say I need 250% ISO. How do I get that? There's a video for that. And if you don't like the videos, there's a spreadsheet for that. Because not everybody likes RevDuce videos. Every video that I use that uses a spreadsheet, I've been pinning that spreadsheet as the pinned comment at the top. So that way you're like, hey, I don't want to listen to Rev. Okay, cool. You can at least come in here. You can come to the ISO calculator, and in here it shows you where every single ISO item is. Is it a forbidden tech, aggregation research, artifact, combat research tree, mirror research tree? When does it activate? Like, is it always active? Is it only active when it, in a battle? All these different things. There's all this information is for you. So whether you like my videos or not, we got it all here, handed in. This is crazy. 11,000 people have watched this video, only 27 comments. It's actually kind of wild. But anyway, again, all this meant to give you the tools you need to be successful. While you look through the spreadsheet, let the video play in the background. Yes, please do. Every view, every watch helps and is greatly appreciated. Tanner says, I would also say for players like Wolf to look at the G5 checklist because there might be things you haven't done, like maxing the rare Voyager officers. This is true. And I'm glad you brought that up because when I make progressions and I make checklists, I do them with the mindset that you did everything in G5 already. So, again, just to use another example, just to keep hammering home, and if you're in G5, G6, this is good information for you. I have a G5 checklist. So over here, I assume you've done all these things if I'm making the G6 video. Like if I do the G6 video, I assume you already have Dry Dock G unlocked for free or you paid for it. I assume everybody at level 60 has 7 docks. Everybody. Whether you're a pure free-to-play or a spender, I assume literally every player has 7 docks. And I base the things I'm looking for you to have at level 60 on the fact that you have 7 docks. Maybe Seawolf doesn't have 7 docks. Maybe Seawolf didn't know to this moment that they can get that dock free-to-play, Dry Dock G, in the Augment faction. Cool. That's what we're here for. We teach things. We help people learn. So whatever those reasonings are, whatever that is, right? Do keep that in mind as well. This is all, I'm expecting everybody here to complete the previous list before you're asking me about the new list, right? So like you can see here, just for G5, I only have Glavin unlocked as a requirement, but you can easily, via this video and other tools, start maxing out all those artifacts in G5. So, artifact rebuilding, and it's incredibly slow drip of building. And see, this is from 9 months ago. It's always cool to see these comments because what's happened since then for Aaron, the G4, G3, G5 battle passes are paying out more directives, or I'm sorry, more artifact gallery schematics and things like that. And for those who don't know, just in case, FYI, level 55 is only temporarily the level that content is behind. There will be coming a day very soonish. I'm not saying next month. I'm not saying in the next 2 months. But there's coming a day where level 60 and 61 will start being the new thresholds that you're expected to be at for content. And then, shocker, it will move up again and be looking at around 65, 66. So always want to look forward to what's going to be in the future, right? Tip says, speaking of artifacts, nice that they changed the V'ger sensor to a guaranteed drop instead of a 50% chance. Agreed on that point. Absolutely agree. 100% agree with that. So, all right, let me swap this out real quick. Finish my Orions, because I realize that we've been chatting this whole time, and we are trying to do player feedback, which I think we've gotten some really good accounts. I appreciate Seawolf and Darkfire both. I think we got some good knowledge dropped here so far. But I also need to make sure I'm getting all my stuff done. So let me go send this Excelsior out and get to moving. You're calling the content moving up in 3 months? Yeah, I think that's a very reasonable estimation and lines up with what they historically do. What's up, Brigadier Jones? What did you miss? You want me to explain the past hour and 20 minutes of stream? We talked about how terrible the whales are, how evil they are, how people like Flossie and Humble are holding us down, and that we need to revolt. We didn't talk about any of that, but it's fun to say. It's fun to say. Why is there motion at my front door? Is it my son? Sorry, things like that. Anyway, you're in Panda Pirate. Love that system. So many Easter eggs and the planet names. Well, those are all players, Seawolf. Those are all people who spent money and they got their own systems and they got their own planets. Yeah. Well, almost everybody. There's actually multiple community managers in that system. Like Hearts, that's a community manager. So player. Actually player on this server. Player used to be a whale and was one of the VIP moderators. He quit the game. Community manager. Jean Valjean, another one. Again, more moderators. So like all of these are actual people. Sandra, she still plays. So she's one of the high levels. It's Colgren Jew. He actually just stopped in the stream probably about 30 minutes ago. Y'all saw Emperor Jew. Glorendorf, that's another one of the community managers. Phlox. So all of these are people. And if you spend enough or you do something, but mostly if you spend enough, you can get your own system and or planet. Yeah. And Byron's can't answer that because I don't associate with that person. Diz is on your server. Diz is a big name. That man's been a big name in STFC for many years. Many years. Diz used to be one of the biggest spenders. I wouldn't say Diz is there anymore. Not that I'm saying Diz doesn't spend, but if you're just looking at, the main top people on the board, Diz is no longer one of the main people, but he's definitely up there. Hey, Emperor Jew is still here. We were just talking about how much of a whale you are with your planet. How you doing, buddy? I got to make sure I'm negative as much as I am positive with you, or it'll go to your head. Neotech, yeah, she used to be the biggest spender. She quit the game. She's quit the game multiple times, and don't know if she'll ever come back again. But yeah, Neotech used to be a really big one too. What level does that extra dot become available in the augment store? You don't see it. You can get that in G3. Now, there is a reputation that you need to earn. So you actually need to go out and grind the reputation. But I actually got my Dry Dock G on server 710 at level 39. So now if you already have Dry Dock G for any reason, like you purchased it or something like that, you won't be able to get, like, it doesn't roll over to Dry Dock H, right? It's only Dry Dock G. So if you have Dry Dock G for any reason, whether you found it in an event store or you got it for free, you paid for it, it won't show up. It's only Dry Dock G that has a free-to-play path. Oh, okay, Chrono. Thank you. Awesome, sir. I appreciate it. Where do you get the Godsend in the Agony booth? Well, right now, you do not get the Godsend anywhere. The Agony booth does have sourcing. The Godsend only pops up randomly in a few different event stores that have happened. The Agony booth is section 31. Yeah. Section 31, doing your mirror stuff can help you chase the agony booth. I mean, I'll be honest, I should have unlocked it by now. I just always forget to come do it. This is why we need bulk faction refines. I don't know why that happens. Anyway, that's why we need bulk faction refines, because I always forget to pull it. The Godsend doesn't have one. So it's a little planet. It's a moon. It's actually, all right, Jew, here's a question for you. Does it annoy you that this planetary formation doesn't make any sense? Like you have two equal size objects that I guess are supposed to be orbiting each other, but there's also like two moons that are in a weird formation all around what is supposedly a massive blue star in Panda Pirate, but none of it makes any daggum sense? Or is that just the nerd in me? Would you recommend to get all free-to-play CTs and FTs? Yes, I would. Now, that I wouldn't say I would recommend holding your account back content-wise for that, but I would say if something's free-to-play, everybody should get it. Fairy's even worse. Well, Fairy has Butt Planet, and I'm a firm believer that Butt Planet exists and that one day I'll die and I'll go to Butt Planet. And everything on Butt Planet is just wonderful butts because it's Butt Planet. And I hope to one day reside eternally in Butt Planet. So we don't talk bad about Butt Planet. But we will talk bad about Emperor Jew and Sandra and Kulgan having these weird phantom planets and this weird moon situation. Yeah. Is that because Q changed the gravitational constant of the system? Maybe he did. You know, how come On-Call Doc's asteroid's been sitting in the same spot with the same tail for 3 years now? Well, not that long, but you know what I mean. Oh, you know what I mean. Oh, also there's a quasar here. Yeah, because why not? Yeah. Because why not? Just put it in the background. It'll look cool. It'll look awesome. It'll look great. Hey, as long as people are happy. And the tail of the comet should always face away from the sun. Quasar or Quasal? Dun, dun, dun. Somebody Photoshop Quasal into that. Do you know why 704 merged in 705 instead of the other way around? I do not. No. Usually the bigger server is the one that gets merged into. Usually. But there's not a consistent setup there. They're not consistent. Yeah. All right, I'm going to recall. Let me get my challenge stuff done real quick, because I will forget. Yep. Periodic updates that bork the Q trials from that system and send players to systems they can't reach. They supposedly have fixed that. But yes, that was a problem, Seawolf. But supposedly they have fixed that. That should not happen anymore. Should be good. If you're still experiencing that, please let everybody know. Make sure you put in a ticket and I'll bring it up as well. But I haven't had that happen since that fix got rolled out. Ooh, I got an uncommon. Let's go. Echeb. Really? Echeb? I mean, I'll go get him. Sure. Just surprised it's Echeb, of all people. Do I have any laying around? Yeah, we got some laying around. Yeah, let's get dedicated, buddy. I need you real dedicated, Echeb. I need you super dedicated, my friend. Hit them crit chances. Let's go. With the exception of 12-hour chests, you pull chests, refinery, and factions all at the same time each day. It's a 10-minute process. And what's worse is it used to be a 30-minute process. I timed it. I actually did a stream with game design, had somebody present, and I had timed it. This was before all the bulks were here, and I spent over 20 minutes doing every claim. So if we can keep getting more bulk things and cut that down, that'll be fantastic. Oh, wow, Andrew. Yeah. Incursion records, I'll go ahead and let y'all know. They're not thinking about that when they're doing mergers. Should they? There's an argument to be made that, like, if server 201 was to merge, I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying if they were, and then you didn't let them keep their merge incursion record, that would be really messed up. Because they're the only server left, for those that don't know, that's undefeated. Like, server 201 has never lost, and they've been doing them since they've come out. And it would be a real shame for them to lose that. Like, I would feel bad for them. You know? Do you have any idea on what criteria decides whether a merger will happen or not? Yes, there are two main criteria, Flossie. Number one is overall server population and activity. Number two is the spending habits of the whales. So, for example, if you have a small population server, let's just say it's only 1,400 players, but the whale group in that server is still very active, they will let that 1,400 person server just sit there and continue to be what it is. Whereas you could have a 2,000 person server, and if the whales in that server aren't spending, it's time to merge it up. Time to merge it up. Now, again, there's not like a set exact amount that I can tell you, here's the exact threshold, you either pass or fail, and it results in this. I can only tell you what I have experienced from talking to community managers for 7 years, and they've been very open about it. You know, they won't give specifics, but those are the main two criteria. Now, again, it wouldn't surprise me if there comes a Scopely employee who's like, "Yep, Rev's lying out of his ass and he's not telling the truth." I'm telling you what I got told by people, right? But I've also learned over the past couple years, there's a lot of disagreement, not only in what people believe that work at Scopely, but also what is shareable. And a lot of times things will get denied because we're just not supposed to talk about it. I don't have an NDA. Haven't had one for a year. We'll never have one with STFC again. I don't have to care about it. So I can at least say, honestly, this is what I got told. Now, if they come out and say, hey, this is how we do mergers, and they've got a whole different SOP, awesome. But as of what I know, those are the two main things. Not the only things, the main things. Are the spenders at the top spending, and is the overall population healthy? Those are the two things. It's also why server 20 has not merged, because it still has both of those things too much. When I go G6, will all my G5 transition mats become immediately useless? Yes. Yes, they will. Just like the silent stuff. Once you go transition, as you can see, it's all about that 6-star, baby. If you're talking about the hostile ships and stuff and all the things that you run into. Now, you'll still have your normal exchanges, obviously. But in terms of, you know, missing out on things, yeah, all the G5 that you had earned, it's not, that doesn't matter anymore. And you'll also have to start doing G6 away teams because your speed ups don't transfer. The heck? What the? I'm just not used to seeing that little red. So, how close are you from the SS mining sweeps? I've already got a couple of them. I just do not have all of them. You spend more than you make? Yeah, I just saw that my mirror resource is out. So I need to go do some hostile hinting with the NSEA. I'm just trying to get all these pulls done. I just don't want to forget. And y'all know how it is. Y'all have been down this road with me before. Y'all have done it yourselves where you forget to do pulls. So I'll worry about those problems after I make sure I get all my pulls done. Yep, happy day. Get the pulls done. I've almost got Picard Hugh ready to max out too. So it's going to be a good day no matter what. Gotta get our pulls done. The gifts from refinery are great. Faction stores are terrible. Yeah. And see, that's what they need to get to. They need to have those put in. And there's also bulk research coming. I don't have a date on it, but bulk research is also on that same list of future features. There's also another feature I know they've worked on. They've worked on officer searching. I don't know when that rolls out, but I know officer search function is coming. I just don't know when, right? So there are a few different good quality of life things they have. I just don't know when they're going to actually launch. So is there any way I can start stocking up G6 away team speed ups now? No. So I don't know anything about inventory search. Y'all can hang that one up. To my knowledge, they've given up on doing anything with that. I could be wrong. Any of the others, Ultra, Samo, Chrono, y'all have sources. Y'all talk to people. To my knowledge, that entire project was scrapped, and they're not. I don't have any knowledge of them picking up anything about inventory cleanup. There was a project for that a couple years ago. It made a little headway, and then it got scrapped. To my knowledge, there's nothing that's gone back to it. So, officer search, however, is separate. That is still happening, again, to my knowledge, as is the bulk faction. I'm sorry, both bulk faction and bulk research. So, but the inventory stuff, and I'm going to tell you part of why I believe that. And for anybody who's a VIP like Flossie's here, I don't know if Flossie attended that Q&A, but there was a Q&A where the GM came in and was like openly said, we don't believe that the inventory is a problem with our system, so it's not a priority for us. That's what they said, because they got asked by VIP directly. The question was, would cleaning up the inventory system help with lag and stability? And the only reason I'm emphasizing this is because the general manager said it. He's the one that makes the decisions. He said, nope, we don't believe that that would help fix these issues if we spent the time to fix inventory. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I'm telling you that conversation was had in a VIP Q&A. And if the general manager says he doesn't think it's important, then that means nobody thinks it's important, because he's the one that calls the shots. So whether it is or isn't doesn't really matter. That's what was said, right? So that's why I don't think it's going to happen. Other things are going to happen, right? Again, bulk faction, bulk research, but that's why I don't think the inventory cleanup is going to happen, because I witnessed a GM say, this isn't high on our priority list. We don't believe it affects our game in a major way. And to add more context, it wasn't just a straight shoot down of that. He then pivoted and said, what is a bigger issue for lag and stability is the constant addition of systems, the constant addition of hostiles, and that's what causes more of their problems. Again, this is what they said in a Q&A. My first response to that would obviously want to be sarcastically to say, well, could we stop making new systems and new hostiles? But I mean, that's a good way to get kicked out of VIP. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm only forwarding you information I have. I'm not pretending to be the person who makes the choices, because I'm not. I don't have any of that power. Dozer says, but the GM also said quality over quantity. No, he didn't. The GM never said that. The person who said that, who worked in community, doesn't even work with the company anymore. The GMs never said quality over quantity. Let me go ahead and give you a FYI if you didn't know. They hate that. They hate it so much. You want to trigger the community team? Bring up quality over quantity. You want to trigger them real quick? Get them like absolutely irate? Bring it up. Because that's still something that they get pissy about. That wasn't the GM. And they are mad that that was ever even said. Yeah. If y'all like getting under STFC skin, just mention that all the time. You'll get them. Anyway, we're getting rabbit trailed and sidetracked, and I shouldn't be teaching y'all how to annoy STFC. I should be teaching you how to be good at it. So let's wrap up for the day. Don't forget, I'll be on Twitch later today. We can also take a look at more accounts. We can do more help. We can do all the different things that we do, hopefully having a good time together. If y'all would like to come join in, there is the Twitch. Like I said, that'll be available tonight in a few hours, and I'm going to wrap it up for the day. Go see the kids, go pick up kids from school and all that other fun stuff. But if you need anything, reach out to me. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I think y'all are awesome, and I think this is the best gaming community in gaming. Like the video before y'all roll out. Live long and plunder. Stay safe out there. Deuces. Catch you on the next one. And as always, thank y'all for supporting me and my family. Check out revenues.com if y'all would like to do just that. See you on the next one.